All right. I think we're live. Oh my God. Can you believe it? Can you believe the world we live in is getting out of hand? So many ideas of what I want. Like, I make a plan 24 hours later and everything changes. My God. They're killing the pet squirrels. Are you seeing this shit? They're killing the pet squirrels. Now, a few weeks ago, it was that the migrants were eating the pets, and now they're not eating them; they're just killing them. And it's not the migrants; it's the government. The government's killing pet squirrels, dude. Are you guys news? Peanut the squirrel? Have you heard about Peanut the squirrel? Oh my God! They killed Peanut the squirrel. Peanut the squirrel wore a cowboy hat. My God! Just when you thought you'd seen it all. Apparently out in New York, a guy rescued a baby squirrel, that was not going to make it. I can't remember what the deal was. The mom got rented a car. It doesn't matter. But he raised a squirrel from a pet, and it was or from a baby, and it was it's just a little pet squirrel. I had a pet squirrel. And for reasons that are on me, if you live on planet Earth, and you live in what we refer to as the Northern Hemisphere, North America, specifically United States of America, specifically New York, the type of animal that you can keep as what we call colloquially a pet, I guess you have to buy it from a person who sells pets for a living. You can't just go out in the wild and pick one up, because they made that a crime. So this guy had a wild squirrel. That's illegal. And I guess they raided his house with guns drawn, took the squirrel, and you can't have that pet. And so they murdered it. It's so you can't have that animal. Let's murder it. It's what? Dude, come on. That's fine. Have a rule, I guess. If the rule is you can't have a wild pet, you just murder it? I don't even really like squirrels that much. And I'm just I kind of feel bad for this squirrel dude. He's just minding his business, and he's like, hey, it's a pretty cushy life. He just got murdered. They murdered him. They murdered Peter. Apparently they did a raccoon, too. Ricky the raccoon or something. I don't even know what's going on. I guess the guy... So here's the thing. I'll tell you the thing. The guy was videotaping himself and his squirrel and then putting it on social media. And he was getting lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of interactions because people were like, that is the cutest little squirrel. But some jealous motherfucker, I know exactly what it was, a jealous motherfucker was like, that's illegal. I'm calling the police. And they called the police on his squirrel because he put it on social media. So here's the secret, kids. If you're going to do against the law, don't videotape yourself doing it. Not legal advice. That's just called fucking don't be an idiot. That guy could have had a pet squirrel, enjoyed his pet squirrel, had a pet squirrel, rubbed the belly of the pet squirrel, fed whatever he wanted to his whole life. If he just stopped fucking videotaping himself with his fucking illegal squirrel, the fucking squirrel wouldn't be dead. I mean, that's one way to look at it. And or why the fuck is the government breaking into people's houses, stealing pet squirrels and murdering them? Don't we have enough shit to worry about? I'm not even saying go round up illegal immigrants that are rapists and murderers. Let's just round up the rapists and murderers. How about that? You don't even have to follow the people breaking the law to get into the country to rape and murder. Let's just take care of the rapes and the murders. Let's get that sorted out first. And then we'll work on the squirrels. Does that seem fair? Murder, rape, then squirrels? What the fuck is wrong with the world? Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to cuss. I'm supposed to work on that. God, my mind is blown. Absolutely mind boggled. I boggled my mind on that one. I saw the story. I'm like, is this really? That's what we're worried about in this world is if a dude has a pet squirrel. Oh, yeah, nice try. I don't know what to feed the chickens anymore, but I can't crack a goddamn egg or have an egg come out normal. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm already in, but I'm not in. I feel like. I don't know what I feel like. I feel like I need a pet squirrel to assist me. Am I looking on the other side? I feel like I'm going to get eggshells. Ooh, good recovery. Poor Peanut. Shout out to Peanut. He's in the big egg in the sky. God almighty, they murdered Peanut. Jesus Christ, dude. I swear. Tunk, this is the government. Surrender the squirrel. It's just like, what is happening? I mean, it's like, you guys remember Alien Gonzalez or whatever? They broke into that dude's house with like ARs pointed, or like total like military rattle battle outfits, goggles to grab a kid out of the closet. Like, you remember that shit? It's like, all right, I get it. Like, I'm definitely for, you gotta do what you gotta do, but like, really, we gotta do like door kicking raids and for fucking squirrels and children? Like, come on, you could just be rational. It's all that work of trying to not to. I guess I'm doing 3 eggs. I don't know why I just did 3. I was thinking about the squirrel, I guess. So yeah, this edition wasn't even supposed to be talking about Peanut the squirrel. This is the garbage edition. Have you ever stupid shit in your entire life? God almighty. The whole fucking thing. We're gonna do a little backstory. I like to pretend I know what's going on in the world. I like to be in on like interesting cultural events and stuff like that, like I don't like to be the last to the party. Whenever I'm like last to the party, I'm like, man, why am I last to the party? So I try not to be that guy. So the last couple of months, yeah, for sure months, I've been watching, it's on YouTube, whatever. They videotape it, and then they also make an audio version of a podcast, whatever. And they do it live. It's a show called Kill Tony. It's a comedy show. The MC is Tony Hinchcliffe. He's got Brian Redman, and then he does like the sound. He's got a live band behind him. And what they do is they're based out of Austin, Texas. They do shows in other places, but what they do is they let anybody, which is wild, anybody that wants to. I could go there. I could get in my car in Austin, go to this bar, write my name on a piece of paper, put it in the hat, and then they randomly select, I don't know how many, like 5 or 6 people out of this hat of like 200 people usually show up. And they whoever they select, they let them come on stage and do 6 seconds of comedy. Actually, they just give you a mic. For 60 seconds, you get to do whatever you want. It's supposed to be a stand-up comedy show. And then after 60 seconds, they cut you off. Actually, a minute and a half. And then they cut you off, and then they do an interview, and they just interview you. And if you're a good comedian, and your set goes good, you basically wrote your ticket in life. You're a famous person. It's basically how because it's the most popular podcast on the planet Earth, I think, if I remember right. Like, how did I miss out? It's been going on for like 10 years, a decade. I've never heard of this shit. I finally, a couple months ago, I started watching it. Pretty good, because they get people who shouldn't be on stage, and they get crazy stories, all this crazy shit. Like, they had one dude get on stage, and he was like, "Yeah, I used to hang out with the who was it? One of the famous mass murderers, serial killers." He's like, "Yeah, I knew that guy. We hung out. We always thought he was kind of weird." Yeah. It's like, wow, I never thought of that. I never thought of like there was men that hung out with regular people. Well, this guy wasn't really regular. I think he was a drug dealer. Anyways, it was crazy, but the show is amazing, and it's amazing for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons it's amazing is they don't censor. Well, they do a little bit, but like they don't say, "Hey, that's a little too dark of a comedy." It's like, no, you as dark as you want to go. If you want to be a racist and tell racist jokes, be my guest. But you're going to get an interview, and your name's going to be everywhere. So think about what you say. Like it's crazy. Like there's nothing like it. Milk smells good. That's what's so good about it is like they don't like, "Hey, wait a second, that's a pretty mean joke." Yeah, that's a mean joke for sure. Like the guy, he's famous for being what's called a roast comedian, and a roast comedian just insult people. He's one of the best roast comedians on the planet Earth, right? So that show is amazing. I've been watching it for months and months, and it's based out of Austin. They do it out of the Mothership, which is Joe Rogan's comedy show or comedy venue. So, like, Joe Rogan's kind of associated with it. He's a very famous person right now. Did I put that fork away? I just gotta grab another fork. Derp, 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 derp. And, I got distracted. He's associated with Joe Rogan, all that. Joe Rogan's famous. He's got his famous podcast. It is what it is. Fast forward to, like, this week when they had a Trump rally, and, like, Trump just did Rogan. I mean, I don't know how it all got set up, but like Trump just did a 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan, just sat there for 3 hours and talked. And it's like, oh, yeah. Not to name names, but I wonder if anyone else who's running for president could sit down for 3 hours and just have a conversation. Well, the other person was invited. And, well, we can't do that. We have to have special rules? And the guy's like, well, this is where I live. You know, if you want to come have your interview, come have it. Anyways, JD Vance did it too for 3 hours. That was I watched that. That was pretty good. Anywho, Tony Hinchcliffe did like 11 minutes, I think, or something, 10 minutes of quote-unquote comedy at a Trump rally over the weekend. They invited Tony Hinchcliffe, which is kind of funny because, like I'm not offended. I think it's great. It's, like, good. Finally someone who's running for political office is going to have, like, people on that people can relate to and think are funny and, like, even, like, he's like, I'm not even sure why I'm doing this shit. But anyways, he did a terrible joke. Oh, my God. He did a terrible joke. I'm going to paraphrase the joke here. He said, quote unquote, paraphrasing. Did you hear about the giant island of garbage in the ocean? Which, you know, a lot of people, yeah, I've heard about that. You know, there is an island of garbage out in the ocean. It's like all this plastic and shit. It's bad. People are upset. And what's interesting, apparently Tony Hinchcliffe, as a human being, is like, allegedly, that's what I heard this secondhand through a video, fascinated / concerned with the floating Pacific island garbage patch, whatever. Like, he's just, like, mesmerized by the idea of it. Well, if you guys remember, during Trump's presidency, there was a bad hurricane that hit, was it Puerto Rico? And, like, they tried to make Trump look bad, and, like, the government under Trump's leadership or whatever, they delivered supplies, and then, like, the Puerto Rican government hid the supplies and said, well, you're not helping us. And then, like, the evidence came out, blah, blah, blah. Super strange. Like, for political reasons, the government of Puerto Rico didn't give supply delivered for the people to the people. They just let them sit there like, oh, we didn't get any. And then, like, oh, shit, oh, got caught. Anyways, one of the things that's happening, because, like, we have a government that does shit like that, like tries to hurt their citizens for political reasons, they're not good at other things. And one of the things apparently they're not good at is, like, they're not good at, like, resource management. And one of the resources they're not managing very well is their garbage collection. And apparently, this is, I'm not making this up, there is a garbage issue in Puerto Rico right now. Is it Puerto? Yeah, it's Puerto Rico. And it's bad. It's not like, oh, well, we got a couple bags of garbage. Like, it's a terrible issue with garbage. So it's another topical thing. So, like, the Pacific garbage patch is a real thing. That's a real thing that happens. The garbage collection in Puerto Rico is a real thing that happens. Well, Tony Hinchcliffe combined the two into a joke and said, hey, did you hear about the floating garbage patch in the ocean? It's called Puerto Rico. Ha 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 ha. It's very funny because it's very clever because it's two things that are actually happening combined into one thing that isn't happening. The island of Puerto Rico isn't a garbage patch floating in the ocean because everyone knows I float, even though I've heard people think that islands float. They don't float. Well, the pearl clutchers went, oh my God! Donald Trump said, you know, like, it wasn't Donald Trump, it was Tony Hinchcliffe. They tried to go with Donald Trump said Puerto Ricans are trash. That's what they went with that. I'm not even joking. They went with it. Oh, that's not warm. God damn it. The first one's going to be garbage. They went with it. They straight went with it. Well, in reality, a comedian at a rally said a joke involving trash and the island of Puerto Rico. Never met people of Puerto Rico. He also said the island was floating. So, like, oh, misinformation. He said an island. You know what I mean? It's like, well, everybody calm down, calm down. So that's the reality of what's going on there, right? A comedian called a floating island of garbage Puerto Rico. There's an island, or there's a floating patch of garbage in the ocean. True fact. Puerto Rico has a garbage problem right now. True fact. Hilarious. Well, the purpose of the turns into, oh, Trump and his allies hate Latinos. Now it's not just the island of Puerto Rico, it's Latinos. He called Latinos garbage. It's like, all right, we're a little stretching here, folks. It's a little bit of a stretch. Because, like, the joke didn't say the people of Puerto Rico. It said the island that was floating in the middle of the ocean is an island of garbage, and it's also known as Puerto Rico. See how that works? The fucking world lost their mind. They're so desperate. This is going to be the end of the campaign. Trump called Latinos trash or garbage. Blah, blah, blah. It's the worst. It's the worst. And they did this for like a day and a half. Like, they just bombarded. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I'm not even exaggerating. References to your media. Not like 100, but like, I think someone counted it was like 500 in a day. They bombarded the news cycle with Trump and his surrogates are calling the Latinos trash. And it's like, all right, I guess, whatever. I don't even know what to tell you. And without missing a beat, the fucking president of the United States is like, my beer. And he came out and he didn't call an island or a section of land or a fictional part of like no or anything garbage. He came out and said that the people who support Trump are garbage, which is relatively easily construed as about half of the United States population, give or take, maybe a little less. But it's not like one island or a group of people ethnically. It includes everybody. It includes Puerto Ricans who Trump. It includes, people from California that support Trump. People from fucking Texas. Everybody. Trump supporters. And the whole fucking world went like, what the fuck did he just say? And they're like, oh no, the fucking patient just called half of America garbage after we just spent like 24 to hours losing our collective fucking minds because a single person, a comedian, told a joke at a rally and called the island of Poo a garbage floating island. See how that works? And they're like, oh fuck, like, oops, that didn't work. Well, turns out, this is where it gets good, turns out the president did all Trump supporters garbage. Despite there's a video of him saying that. I mean, you can free to Google it. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. He didn't say that. He didn't mean that. He's got a stutter. And it's like, well, being an old stupid dementia is not a fucking stutter. I mean, I'm sorry. If you decided not to kick the dude out of office and you're in charge, he's the president of the United States. Like, people don't seem to understand that. We have a president right now. It's Joe Biden. It is literally Joe Biden is in charge of the fucking show. Holy Christ. Called half of America garbage. And they said, no. There's an apostrophe. It's a possessive apostrophe. I'm not even making this up. This is there. When he said there was an apostrophe that you didn't catch in the inflection of his stutter. And the apostrophe, there's two places you could put an apostrophe. One makes multiple, and one makes possession, right? So you could have cat, cats, and cats, right? So like there's no cats, you put the apostrophe in the one place. But if it's the cat's puke pile, then you put the apostrophe someplace else. Do you even go to school and learn this shit? Like that's like the cat's puke, and the apostrophe goes in a different place as opposed to the cats are over there. It's multiple cats or the possess. Anyways, so when he called Trump supporters garbage, the only Trump I see is Trump support, or the only garbage I see is Trump supporters. Well, what they said he was saying is the only garbage he sees is the possessive garbage of the Trump supporters. And then he said, I'm one guy. So the Trump supporters garbage is the one Trump. A very unique way to talk about one single person is to call them in a plural possessive as a single individual. Because I don't think he was everyone garbage. And then everyone stopped talking about garbage instantly. Because it was just like, like I said, for 24 hours, that was the worst insult you could ever say in the history of mankind, is to call an island floating garbage Puerto Rico. And then when the president of the United States calls half the fucking population garbage, it's like, well, nothing to see here. He didn't mean that. And this is what's really interesting, because there's people may not realize this, but like the president of the United States is a very powerful position. And it's a very historic position. So like literally everything they do is like documented. Every time he speaks, there's a stenographer there writing down what they say for the record. It goes in the record. Well, the stenographer that was there typed that. Stenographer. The White House came and like, I don't know how exactly they did. They made like a pitch or a proclamation or something. They demanded that the stenographer change the record that wrote to reflect the apostrophe addition and location, to change the statement that the president made on the official historic fucking record for the United States, to include the apostrophe in the location, to make it possessive and refute a single man's trash. His Trump supporters' trash. I'm not making that shit up. I mean, I've never... like, I know we live in strange times. Like, we live in real strange times. But we're living in times so strange that they're forcing... That's I'm not making that shit up. Like, that is a real thing that happened. Made the stenographer, and the stenographers, I guess, are like, get the fuck out of here. Like, nobody tells us what to type. Like, basically, that's like kind of the position. It's like, no, we don't take orders. We do our job. You say, I shit my pants. We type, quote, I shit my pants. It's crazy, dude. So now we're getting like, Jesus Christ, they're making the stenographers change the record. Holy Christ. So now we're going to get into the conspiracy aspect of the whole thing. You ready for this? The conspiracy theory, and I'm not making this shit up at all. I just realized I got to get butter out. God damn it. Do I have any butter? Yeah. Oh, please. We washed the rancid butter. We'll talk about that. Had a couple interesting breakfasts of toast with some flavorful butter. Anyways, here's where the conspiracy happens. You guys ready for this? This is good. The conspiracy theory is that Joe Biden is not very happy with the fact that he may have been more than persuaded not run for his re-election. Does that make sense to anybody? Like, if you go back a little brain time machine, like Joe Biden's like, I'm goddamn running. I won the goddamn primary. I'm running for president. Like, he literally said that, and then within like 24 hours, like, and upon reflection, I quit. Basically, it's like womp womp. Well, turns out that maybe Joe Biden isn't super duper pumped about the fact that he got forced out. You know, they used to call it a coup. I don't know what they call it anymore. But anyways, the internet rumor, the conspiracy theory is that he's not very happy, and they said that he's doing this shit on purpose. Like, did you guys see him put a MAGA hat like a couple weeks ago? Joe Biden put a MAGA hat on and like wanted to keep it. I'm not making that up. So like, you know, let's read so the butter melts. So the conspiracy theory is that Joe Biden's like this shit just to try to tank Kamala's chances because he doesn't want her to be president, since she you know. I mean, I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you go, and like, I think Kamala's in charge of like shoving Joe Biden out. No, I don't think so. I don't think Kamala is in charge of shit. To be honest with you, I think. I don't know what I think. I think I don't want to go together, or get in trouble. But I think that I think there's some people that are used to some power that are going to do whatever it takes to keep their power. They were out of power for like 4 years, and they weren't really about that. If you watch the regular news cycle, you kind of see the steps that are being taken to assure their choice for person in charge remain who they choose, which is kind of crazy. I mean, it's super kind of crazy, actually, but I'm just a simple YouTuber eating French toast, talking about Peanut the squirrel. But yeah, garbage. Garbage. And it's like, so like, I don't want to, like, I kind of can't get this lid open. Where's my, don't I have a thing? Where's my gilhooey? Where's my doohickey? God damn it. There it is. Hold please. We're gonna break this goddamn thing open from the ancient world. How does it work? There we go. This thing's like 100 years old. The power of gears. Oh, gotta get a little closer. Got him. Things a little grimy, but got the job done. Keeps your immune system healthy when you handle tools like that. Yeah. So, like, my favorite thing. Let's be fair. If I'm going to shit on one side, I'm going to shit on the other side too. So, the rally was at Madison Square Garden, all right? And, like, many years ago, and I think even at a nation, but it was still called Madison Square Garden. Defended by the ACLU, the local National Socialist Workers' Party decided to have a rally. Sometimes they don't call themselves that. They do an acronym, the Nazi Party. Held a rally at the Madison Square Garden. This is a long time ago. So therefore, with regular logic, since the Nazi political party held a rally there, if you have a political party there, you're a Nazi somehow. I mean, I don't really understand it, but this is what the TV told me. Anyways, so within like a day or two, or a day, 24 hours, the Republican Party went from being called basically Nazis with the rally at Madison Square Garden and Trump was Hitler. And that was like acceptable. To someone calling an island trash, which was unacceptable. To the president calling the former Nazi party, I guess, Nazi participants, trash and people losing their fucking minds. So it was like, well, I guess I'm confused. Maybe trash is a worse insult than I realized. Like, I didn't realize it was that bad of a word. Like, maybe it's one of the worst. Because they were calling people Nazis, and it was like, yeah, been called worse. And then they got called trash, and fucking people lost their fucking minds. Wild how, like, I don't know what the word is. It's like it's outrageous. I mean, it's, I figure it's just fake as fuck. I mean, give me a break. I by no means think that Puerto Rico is the worst place on the planet Earth. But I got news for you. I know for a fact there's better places. I know for a fact there are better places than Puerto Rico. It's just wild, dude, that people get so, like, it's like, I'm offended to be offended. That's so offensive. Well, that's not that offensive. Shit's wild. And after all that shit show, I mean, that was just like, that was like starting on Sunday. It really was. What was kind of funny is like, Hinchcliffe's like set wasn't even the most offensive thing that he said. That's the crazy part. That wasn't even the most offensive thing that he said during the set. Like, he made jokes about black people and crazy shit. Like, he was saying, which is like fucking hilarious. That's what's so great. It's so fucking funny. And if you can't laugh at that shit, you're probably no fun to be around, and you ought to fucking lighten the fuck up a little bit. But they just thought like, oh, let's. I mean, like, the fact they tried to make it like that Trump said, like, they literally came out and said, like, Trump says, and it's like, what the? I mean, you got to be on fucking dummy pills. Like, how do you, like, and then, like, what was the next thing I heard? Like the internet refers to the timeline, like the timeline we're living in, like a big theory, conspiracy theory that, like, have you ever heard like the Large Hadron Collider, like CERN and all that shit, where they did these high-end, super elusive, crazy physics experiments with these giant labs that are like many miles big, and they collide particles together, and like, well, we don't know what's gonna happen. Like, they literally said, well, this could make a black hole that could open up and eat the whole Earth. Like, let's try it anyways. Well, there's people who like theorize, like, when they did those experiments, that some crazy shit actually happened, and like it cracked something in like the timeline of, I mean, I don't know anything about this shit. I'm just telling you what the internet told me. And it split the timelines off, and like, oh, we split. Like, we're living in this timeline and the other timeline, and like, the timeline we're living in, that's when, like, you're in it with me right now. If you're watching this video, you're in my timeline, because we're just going along and watching the world go by. But it's like the timeline we're living in, it's like, it's wild. Like the political party, like who supports who, like the Cheneys and the Bushes, and they're supporting the Democrats. It's like, what doesn't even make any sense. Like, what? So I wonder, is there actually Democrats and Republicans, or is there like, what do we actually have in this country? I'm not totally sure we have Democrats and Republicans. I think we have Republican, and then we have like the people, I think is what we have. Because I think the Democrat-Republican thing is like the machine. Like, it doesn't, like, I never thought of the world that way, but it kind of looks exactly like how that's how it works. Because, like, I mean, there's still those two major political parties, obviously. We still have that. Like, one of the political parties, well, we'll talk about both. We'll start with the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party came out and basically said, we don't really care about the primary thing. They had like a lawsuit over it, like, what was it, like 8 years ago? Because Bernie Sanders actually won. And they're like, but we don't really want Bernie, so we're going to give it to Hillary. Like, I'm not making this shit up at all. That went to court, and they basically were a private, like, the quote-unquote, was it small d Democrat Party, is like a private corporation, I guess. And they're like, we can do whatever the hell we want to, but we give the quote-unquote members of our party the opportunity to voice their concerns in the form of voting, but in the end of the day, we choose who we want. And that's what they did. Like, they literally did that. Now, the Republican Party hasn't really gone so far. We're just going to do it however the fuck we want. They're still pretending that when you vote in a primary, that actually is how it's going to work. And that's how we have the guy we have now, Trump. Because he got the votes. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's a principles thing or if they just think they could get away with it. The Democrats are like, we have a shit. We can get away with whatever we want. But for whatever reason, the two parties run their primaries differently. Like, the votes actually count in the Republic. From what I understand, you know. I've been wrong past. I could be wrong on this. That's how you got Joe Biden dropping out and Kamala Harris being selected. Because the Democrat Party does not require, I don't know if it's their bylaws or how they set their shit up, or they just do whatever the hell they want. And it could be the same with the Republican Party. They could do it too, if they wanted to, maybe. I really don't know what the behind all that is, because I think it's all just kind of like made up. It's just kind of made up, I think. Because like the two-party system isn't codified in law. There's no rule that says we have to have two parties. And like, we used to have parties. Like, there used to be the Bull Moose Party, there used to be the Whig Party, and there used to be all these other parties that were like major parties. I'm not talking like fringe shit. Like, people have short memories. They don't learn about old shit. They don't care. You know, people are just like trying to get through the day, whatever. I get it. But it's just interesting how that works. So, anywho's, it's just like, it's mind-boggling. Like, I can't do shit. I can't do anything about any of it. I'm just eating French toast here. Do the best I can. It's just wild to watch, you know, like, oops, I stopped watching television so long ago I can't even remember. I don't even have a TV hooked to an antenna in my house. I literally don't have television in my house. Can't watch it if I wanted to. And like, I was an early adopter into, oops, looks like I lost my stream. Saying too much truth, apparently. I was an early adopter in the no thanks on the TV thing. Well, a lot of other people have gone that way too. And like, so what happens when you stop watching TV, the first thing you'll notice is you don't get exposed to the information that you were getting exposed to in the past. Now, I'm not going to go so far as say, you're not getting programmed with the propaganda. Like, I'm not going to say that because that's inflammatory. I'm just going to say you're not exposed to that information, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So you have to choose at some point, do you want information or do you not want information? Well, if you want information, you have to go seek information, which you can get a bias when you do that. If you only seek information from a certain place, you get that information. But what you don't get when you don't watch TV is you don't get the information that they want you to have, right? Like you don't get today's lesson. And every once in a while, I'll fall back into a situation where I can't get away from whatever that old lifestyle was. Like, maybe I'll be in a car with somebody that have the radio on. And you may not realize it if you listen to the radio, but like, if you listen to the radio all day, we'll just do radio for example, you'll hear the same important, serious today's message multiple times. If it's the big news story, whatever, they'll just repeat it. It's like, well, that's what you do when you go to school and you're trying to learn something or have something like stuck into your brain so you don't forget it. You just repeat it over and over and over, and then that becomes reality. You get learned. It's called they're programming you. They're telling you the official what happened today. Well, I got news for you. There's a lot of shit that happens every single day. It's a big planet. everywhere. Well, a lot of people aren't watching TV anymore, and a lot of people aren't listening to the radio anymore. So the message isn't getting through. Does that make sense? They're not getting the message through. You're not getting the. A lot of people are just watching streaming stuff, right? So you notice, like when streaming first started, you paid your service and you got your service, and that was good. Well, now, messaging isn't getting through on what products to purchase, also known as commercial. So you're not getting the messaging. You're not buying the right shit because you're not watching the TV and you're not getting the advertisements to tell you what shit to buy. So they put in commercials in like streaming services and shit. Therefore, you can get the information that you're supposed to get, so you know what shit you're supposed to buy. I'm like, whatever. Give me an opportunity to check my email, I guess. Just put that shit on mute and check my email. Anyway, turned the TV on the other day. They have a commercial for which news to watch for the election results. I was like, what? That doesn't sound like good news there. If they're trying to program me where I'm supposed to go to get my election results, like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh my god, I got no... little danger flag went off in my head when I saw that. Like, oh god. I gotta go to the official place to find out what's going on. The official television program. Oh my god. I probably should go to the store and buy some food before Tuesday. I think it's gonna get fucking crazy. I mean, I just can't imagine. No matter what happens on either side or the fourth side of the spectrum. I don't even know how many sides there are to the spectrum. I can't imagine it's going to be like, oh, okay, oh, perfect, yeah. Well, that worked out. Just shake my head. Just shake my head, eat my French toast. Shit is wild, dude. It's so wild. People get so worked up over like what the TV tells them. Like, that's a serious issue. This particular issue I'm passionate about. It's like, really? How long have you been passionate about this issue? Well, basically since the TV told me to be passionate about it. Oh, okay. Well, this is very important. Okay. Well, there are many people right now that are very upset. They're very upset about Puerto Rico being compared to a floating island of trash. But at the same time, I don't think they're upset that Puerto Rico has a trash problem. See how it works? They're very upset. But not upset enough to be upset about that. Definitely not upset about the floating island of trash. Like, all right, let's go down the rabbit hole here. So you guys have been watching the whole P. Diddy, the whole baby oil sex tapes and all that crazy shit. All right, here we go. The conspiracy theory on that is, so like that may have like came out organically, like he was doing that shit. Usually you videotape people doing shit that they don't want to have other people know, so you blackmail them. I don't know if you know about blackmail, but that's kind of how that works. Well, allegedly, the reason that's got whatever brought to the attention of the TV watching public pre-election was that the powers that be wanted to get their hands on tapes. And allegedly, this is crazy, and I don't know if it'll ever come out, I could be wrong. Allegedly, anyone that's of significant importance who's going out of their way to make statements for the current administration in a light, allegedly is on video. And the powers that be are like, we're going to release your video unless you say these fucking statements. That's what's going on right now. These celebrity endorsements, those are all compromised people. because like typically if you're in a position of collecting money from the general public, you typically don't pick a side. You want money from both sides. So you can't. I mean, typically you just do your thing and you just enjoy your life, unless someone comes to you with either large money or threats to your large money. Then you are forced to do a thing. That's how it works in life. Generally speaking, if you collect money from the public, you want to collect money from as many people as possible, and you don't polarize your base. Generally speaking, unless someone's got dirt on you and they blackmail you, then you have to do what they tell you. So that's supposed to be the rumor on the P. Diddy sex tape scandal. Is those are people who are compromised. They're having to make these public statements. It's just what the rumors on the internet are. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. I don't go to P. Diddy sex parties, unfortunately. I'm not that famous. But, yeah, it's good times. But much like the old Jeffrey Epstein Island stuff, like that was... That's another one of those things, like... They never really got to the bottom of that mystery, did they? Like Jeffrey Epstein just liked to do that, and like what he just collected him for his own. Who did he work for? Like that dude wasn't doing that for himself. He was doing it for somebody else. Who was he working for? I mean, I think I know the answer. I'm not going to say it because I definitely don't want to get my channel demonetized. Like, they never got to the bottom of that mystery. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. It definitely isn't hard to figure out at all. Quite honestly, it's easy to figure out. I mean, his right quote unquote man, which wasn't a man, it was a woman, Ghislaine Maxwell. You know, she's in prison. She had a trial, and like during the trial, they were like, "Well, we're not going to tell you because it would be bad if we told you this information public." They literally said that. I believe it was on the client list. We're not going to show you the client list because if we show the client list, they basically what they were afraid was going to happen is the fucking collective world would lose their mind because the people that run the collective world may or may not be. Yeah, it's just like what the fuck is happening? Like, have you ever heard such bullshit in your life? I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're in the club, hats off to you. I'm sure it's fucking amazing. But like, if you're just a regular person, like, what are you supposed to do with that information? Like, the bank's too big to fail? Like, what? What happened? Like, the bank's too big to fail. So we can't let it fail. It's too big. Like, okay, well, Joe Sixpack paid his fucking utility bill a day late. He gets charged a fine. Is he too small to pay a fine? Like, too big to fail. Like, I just need more debt? Is that like, if I just take $1 trillion of debt out, I'm good? Or like, how does it actually, oh, well, you know, it's complicated. And I suppose maybe it could be more nuanced that I'm able to wrap my head around about being too big to fail. Like, maybe if it failed, like, the whole world would fucking fall off, the wheels would fall off and the axles would break, and I have fucking no idea how that works. It's just wild. Like, I mean, like, if the rule's too big to fail, should the rule be too big to be too big? Maybe there ought to be a preemptive too big rule, so you can't get to too big to be that big. Uh-oh. Don't say shit like that. Too big to be that big. Should come before too big to fail. Whatever. I'm sure it's going to work out. I'm sure it's all going to be fine. What's the worst that could happen? Oh man, whatever. You're garbage. Like, God, fucking Joe Biden. It like blows my mind. Cause like, to like participate, I just vanilla on my fucking, you know, it's one of the days. It blows my mind that to participate in like polite society where we all have to agree on reality, like at some point, like that's kind of how this little adventure on planet Earth works. Is like polite society all gets together and we all kind of just collectively agree to a few things. Not that they're based in reality. It's just like that's just what we're gonna pretend, you know. Like at one point, about 4 years ago, polite society decided that Joe Biden, our current president of the United States, he's an amazing human being, was to be the one and able to procure the most. This is my favorite. Maybe people don't remember. Joe Biden procured more votes, thus making him more popular. You ready for this? Than Barack Obama. Joe Biden's more popular than Barack Obama. Wrap your head around that. And there's a reason. The reason for that is, in order for Joe Biden to have won the election, which obviously, because he's the president, but you have to have more votes than your opponent. And Donald Trump got more votes the second time he ran for president than he did the first. And then in order for that to prevent him, mathematically, Joe would have to get more votes. When it was done, he ended up with the most votes ever, more than Barack Obama, thus making him the most president in the history of the United States, by the way. So popular that people were yelling, "Fuck Joe Biden," out in public. Now, I don't really remember that ever happening to the most popular president of the United States. At the time was Barack Obama. I know there's some people that didn't like him, but I don't remember anybody like getting crazy. Shit is wild, man. It is wild. This is some wild shit. Oh well. I feel like I'm making French toast sticks here. I'm done eating that French toast for a little bit. It's thick bread. Makes good French toast. How long have we been going for? 50 minutes. I'll do a 10-minute monologue here. I'm going to go on the Kill Tony fucking podcast and do 30 seconds of comedy. Here we go. Where are you at? Weirdos be looking in my cabinets. All right. So, trash. Ooh. You're trash. God. God, that's offensive. I think it's like, I'm like, oh, the president of the United States called me trash. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that is a little fucking strange. But so like, I'll go back to that. This is where it gets good. So like, I believe it was like, I don't know, Puerto Rico has like a governor, I think. The governor of Puerto Rico, like fucking, obviously a Democrat, literally was like, "This is fucking outrageous." It is outrageous that a person, one, singular, doing a comedy routine, obviously at a political event for Donald Trump, said this joke disparaging our floating island of garbage commonwealth known as Puerto Rico. Demanded disavowing and apologies from the Republican candidate for President Donald Trump. Demanding and disavowing the hateful rhetoric disparaging the fine folks of Puerto Rico. Now, I don't know if perhaps is there going to be someone who demands the disavowing of the President of the United States for disparaging? I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath. Definitely not going to hold my breath. I got news for you. If you're a parent of a small child, I would assume that the word garbage is going to be probably the greatest insult that those kids have ever heard for the next little bit here. So get used to that. That breakfast tastes like garbage. It's garbage. Your breath smells like garbage. Your grades are garbage. That missed shot was garbage. It's all garbage, garbage, garbage. So I didn't say trash. I like trash better than garbage because I've used trash for a while. Like, you're trash. You are trash. Refuse. Whatever. I think I remember when I was like, how old would I have been? Older than I should have been. I think I was like at high school. They were talking about language and words. And like when you're young and you're growing up, I mean, it's not true for everybody, but like most people, and some people are more exposed than others, but most people like one language and they get pretty good at it, and you get introduced to a couple other languages maybe, or one, you take some classes. So when you're growing up, you got a language. I got this mastered. I've been speaking it my whole life, right? For me, I was like in high school where they were talking about something, and the teacher was talking about how the words change meaning, and then it's like, get the fuck out of here, like. No, I've been speaking this language my whole life. I understand the words. The words don't change. And like, no, actually they do. They changed over time. And the word they used, I remember so much because one of my favorite bands at the time was named this word. It was the word Sublime. And Sublime is like a ska band. It's like, oh, I love Sublime. So it's like, well, I'm interested, teacher. Say more. Like, I'm going to actually listen to what you have to say now. Talk about Sublime. And they're like, well, the word sublime over time has changed meanings 180 degrees. And it was like, it's like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, sublime used to mean, I may have even changed it by now, but like, so like the word sublime now to me, like people are like, oh, how sublime. It's like, oh, how, I don't know, like kind of a positive, but like a fanciful. I mean, it's not even what the word means anymore. Like, surreal but sublime, but it used to mean bad, like, and like at some point it just switched 180. Like it blew my mind. Like, what? Why would a word switch 180? Like I never even thought about that. Like why would you do that? And then like since then I've lived a couple decades and I'm watching the world goes, and like it's like, oh, now I understand, because someone uses a word and it doesn't fit the situation that the people in charge want it to be, so there's like, abracadabra, like just change the word. Like, oh god, like what's the word now that like it just is crazy? Like the word, okay, you ready for this? Literally, the word literally does not mean what it meant when you were young. And even if you're a young person, you have to be pretty young. So like literally means something to be done literally, like literally, as opposed to figuratively. Well, in 2020, whatever now, literally means figuratively. And I mean that literally. So people will use the word literally when they mean figuratively. And that's become accepted. It's an acceptable way to use the word literal or literally. And it's like, whoa, that's crazy. But like, womp womp, well, welcome to it. Like, because like literally, figuratively is too hard. Count your jaw bounces. Figuratively, too hard. Literally, OMG. Sometimes I wonder what it's going to be like for people that are alive in like 200 years. Like, how crazy is it going to be? Like, how crazy is it going to be? Because like you think about it, do you know how long cars have been around? Like auto, not that long, like a little over 100 years. I'm not even joking. I got a 100-year-old truck in my garage down there. It's like 100 years old. It has wood on it. It's a wooden truck. It has wooden wheels. We have cars that, I don't want to say this wrong. I had someone get mad at me when I said it. I said autonomous driving car. Oh, it's not autonomous. Like, whoa, the word autonomous doesn't mean what it used to be. Like, there are cars that can drive themselves without the input of a human being sitting in the driver's seat. That's the best I can come up with to make the world happy with the way I speak. I had one in my hooked to my power source, my 220 volt, 50 amp power source. It was charged battery. I had the owner download the app and hit the button called summon, and the car literally, and I mean literally this time, not figuratively, literally. I was there I actually have a video of it. The car, with no human beings inside of the car at all, reversed itself from My garage, where I could have closed the door, the car would have parked for the night, it backed itself right out, all on its own. It was literally driving autonomously. It was all by itself. No one touched any buttons, no one on the wheel, not that shit. In 100 years, we went from that to that. Went from horses to driving cars that don't have to have people in them. So what's it going to be like in 200 years? Can you imagine? What a time to be alive. Air conditioning. Good times. Air conditioning and cruise control. I mean, I kind of feel like I was lucky to be born before the internet. I remember that shit. And like, at the time, it didn't even seem like it never seemed like a thing at the time. It's like, it's like you can mess around with it. It's like a tool, something cool, technology. It's like, it's kind of cool. Never did anyone ever. You couldn't fathom it. You couldn't fathom how the internet would change everything. And that's not bad. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. Change things for the good too. Like, shit's better because of the internet. It's also way fucked up because of the internet. But like, it ain't going back. That's the crazy part. It ain't going back. Like I joke about air. You can go back. You don't have to have air conditioning. You can be sweaty, but there ain't nobody going back. No internet. I mean, you could live without it, but like, you ain't going back. Like, try to do like a title thing the other day, and it's like watching these old gray hairs. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be mean. I got gray hairs too, so like I'm watching gray hairs come into like the building you go to get your license plates renewed, and it's like 30 years of my life and for fucking a million years of everyone else's life, you walked into the building, you pulled a fucking ticket. That was your number. You looked at the number thing, and when it was heard, you went up and you explained what you were doing, and they were like, all right, you need to go there, or whatever. You know, like, nope. It's all like touch pads and all this crazy shit, and like people are like, what the fuck do you do? First time I'm in there, I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here. Like, there's no instructions. It's a fucking pad there. So the first time I went, there was no one to help. I'm just like, I looked to the crowd. I use this goddamn thing because like, I missed this day of class. I missed the walking to the building, do my license plates, technology, how to do it class. Like, I think it tricked me to give me my telephone number or some shit, and I started getting all these calls. Like, dude, what the hell is happening? This time there was a lady there. I was like, oh, nice, a person. There's a person employed here who's going to help people figure this out. She had like 3 people on the left, and like some more old people came in. This one guy was like, I don't know what. He just went and sat down, and then like got mad when he got told he didn't sign in. He's like, I don't like, what's rule? Like, whatever. All right, there's my hour. You're garbage. Take it out. Recycle. Peace. I'm out. Stay safe. Good luck. I forgot to mention, next Sunday, the end of the world may be transpiring, so good luck. Don't forget to go vote. Yeah, everybody. Best of luck to everybody. Good luck. Peace. I'll miss you. God damn.